So if you watch After Drive, you know we're always talking about older sports cars, but what about new cars? Why don't you help us figure out which are the most desirable new models among Drive's audience of picky-ass enthusiasts? That's today on After Drive.
All right, Mike, we're rolling.
My man!
Hey, Mike Spinelli.
Ian Whalen, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Back on the show since BRZ or That. That was the last show you did.
That's right, we're on to something new now.
We're on to something new. So we finally kicked that dead horse, deader than it was.
It might come back eventually in a new shape.
Yes, exactly. Hopefully in a new shape with actual cars on it.
Right.
Because that was sort of the incubation thing that we did on the show. But anyway, we asked you guys last night a question that we've sort of talked about before, is we talk a lot about old cars and desirable sports cars of other eras. What about new cars? We don't talk a lot about new cars, brand new cars.
Yeah.
So we asked you guys on Facebook which new cars you would be interested in if you were looking for a new car.
Yeah.
And money's no object, but you don't have to go right to the supercar. Some of you guys did, but whatever, you don't have to. That all comes to something we're going to do pretty soon called the Drive New Car Desirability Index. And we're going to take all of your responses, and you're going to tell us the new cars that you'd buy, or at least would consider, and then we'll round up all the responses from all around the Drive social media sphere, or whatever you want to call it, and put them all together, and I will have an upcoming episode talking about which are the cars that you guys like the best from the new car pool, right?
Sounds good.
Yes, so that's coming up soon. So I just thought, because we put it on Facebook yesterday, that people really, really, really like non-new cars so much that a couple of guys came up with ways around answering the actual question.
Good for them. I'm with those guys.
I know, you're the curmudgeon around here.
I am. I don't really like that many new cars. I mean, sometimes I'm amazed by some of these really tricked out Luxo barge type things, like an Audi A8 or whatever. I think that would be cool to have just for like driving super long distances and with all the tech and stuff. But
sure,
I don't get that excited about new cars usually. There are some exceptions though.
So I'm gonna throw out, this is a couple of the answers that got around the question. Chris Moore from Facebook, a Kenworth W900. That's a trailer truck, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know what you call it in the UK, a lorry, right?
That's right.
And an enclosed car hauler so I can carry a half dozen of my crappy race cars to the track at a time in style. So that's the new car. So like,
yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, okay, so getting around the question. John Souza says, I would buy a couple of cars from the same family and do drivetrain swaps. This is kind of an interesting way. A GTR drivetrain in an Infiniti or Audi S8 engine in a Q5 or Q7. So that's one way around it. Also, Ken Simon says, herpes dick. So
it's a great car.
That's one way around answering the question. So real quick, before we just kind of throw this out to everybody else, what would you pick? No, actually, no, wait, I'm going to go first.
Yeah, you go first.
I mean, right now, I think the cars, I'm looking forward to a couple of cars. I'm looking forward to the Alpha 4C and whatever the BMW 2 Series is, whenever we start actually seeing what that becomes. But I'm trying not to always say Cayman S, because Cayman S, to me, is sort of a real high watermark in sports cars right now. So I'm not going to say Cayman S, even though I probably would say that.
I like it.
I'm just trying to
I actually do like, that's one new car I do like.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Focus ST.
All right, that's a good choice.
252 horsepower. Everybody loves it. It's a great car. I still haven't driven it. Matt Farah's driven it.
I've driven it.
What? You drove it and I never drove it?
I drove it at...
Come on!
I drove it at Monticello.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah, it was cool. I wish we could get a three-door Focus.
That's a problem. Right, we need that.
I just like the way three doors look. And plus, I'm tall. I sit back farther. I like a longer door. You know.
Right. I could basically sit in anything. So it's okay. I mean, for me, I just like the look of the extra doors. I think it's more, I don't want to say it's more Euro, but I like the European hot hatchback stuff.
I like it.
Right, there you go. What about you?
All right. So for me, it would be the Aston Martin V12 Zagato. Why not?
Mr. Fancy.
I think, yeah, I am a little bit fancy, but
It's kind of going to the other side of the spectrum.
I usually don't care about cars that are that expensive.
Right.
But just about the only new cars that I would really want to own are Aston Martins. And it doesn't have to be the Zagato, but why not? If we're going to pick.
Well, you
something.
do class up the joint, I have to say.
Thanks.
Around here. So that that kind of, stands to reason.
That thing's just so wild, and you could still get it with a manual gearbox.
It's nice. I do like that one. I think that's my favorite of the Zagato designed Aston rebodies for me. But
it's crazy looking.
It is crazy looking. But what do you guys think? You don't care what we think. We care what you think, and then we're going to compile everything from all over the place. And on a future show, we're going to talk about the cars you guys love the best, the new cars the Drive audience loves the most. And that's it for After Drive today. Don't forget /drive.tv, @Drive on Twitter, and Facebook.com/DriveTV, where the conversation about cars never ends. Ian Whalen, thanks for coming in again.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
For walking over, I mean.
Yeah, anytime.
We'll see you guys next week. Out. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, that's the wrong.
That's the
song.
wrong show.
Boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom.
That song gets stuck in my head all the time.